Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where we are back-to-back days with a live stream. Would you believe it? When was the last time we done that? We are back today because you guys yesterday seemed to really enjoy assessing and breaking down the Manchester United midfield profiles that we currently have at the club. So I thought today we would run it back. We would do it again and talk about centre-backs this time. And to do it today, we've got ourselves a lovely new document created by Steve in the chat. Thank you very much, Steve. Guys, say thanks to Steve. This means that I don't have to do the mental maths by myself. Now, Steve, I know I said I'd get in touch with you before the streams. I was meant to be doing a different stream today. This is very last minute, so I had to sort of botch job do it myself. But regardless, here we are today looking at the Manchester United centre-backs. We're going to be looking at Ligt, Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, Leny Yoro, Aiden Heaven, Lindelof and Johnny Evans. I'm not sure. We'll see, because they're probably not going to be here next season anyway, right? But the plan is basically to go through each of these options, each of these players, and basically assess their strengths, what they're good at, what they're bad at, where they need work. And the idea is that by the end of that, we're going to get an idea of what we're missing in the centre-back department at Manchester United. Now, there is also an argument for the fact that, you know, should someone like Mazraoui be in this list because he has played centre-back for us? Should Luke Shaw be in here as well, potentially? I've left them out for today just to focus more specifically on, you know, actual centre-backs, but maybe we can cover those guys another day. But yeah, that is basically the plan for today, to do something very similar to what we were doing yesterday. But before we get into that, hop in the chat down below, guys, and let me know how you're doing. How is life? And also, if you look in the chat now, there you go, there is a link at the top of the chat to our second channel, AJ Talks Tactics, so make sure to go check that out. And also, there is a link to our Discord server, both completely free to check out. Why not do it? Why not get involved? Several of you guys joined yesterday. It would be great to see even more of you. But yes, good morning, my friends, or good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to the stream. Please add clips to the analysis so that we can get it a bit more clearly. Thank you. I understand the request. Unfortunately, anytime I try and use clips, even just a 5-second clip, I get hit with copyright strikes, which results in bits of the video going missing, and then the video loses complete context. So I would love to try and use clips. Perhaps we can do something in the future on a different site, maybe, where we can use clips. But right now on YouTube, I don't have that luxury. Other people seem to be able to get away with it sometimes, but not me. I'm not sure why. So we will not be having clips for now, but maybe in the future. Maybe in the future. We've also got David in the chat. Of course, we've got David in the chat. Of course, putting the links at the top of the chat. But also gifting a membership as well. David, thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Guys, you know what to do. That chat should be full of love hearts. Turn it green. Turn it green. Get some W's in there, some hearts. Do we still have the stars? If so, get the stars in there to make sure to say thank you to David. All good, working from home today? It'd be like that. Sun's out as well. Lovely day, lovely day. Rough times? Kieran, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. I hope things get better soon, my friend. After all the positions, maybe do a video of the signings needed to fix the problems. I really like the idea of that. Either a video at the end of all this to give you a centre-back we should sign, a central midfielder, a wing-back, or whatever. Or we could just do like a massive stream talking about it as well. So I'm happy for either. It's probably more down to what you guys would prefer. So yeah, we will do some sort of like summary at the end of all this. But for today, we need to start talking about centre-backs. So what we're going to do is go over here. Like I said, this was very kindly made by Steve. So make sure to say, hi, Steve. Thanks, Steve, in the chat. So what we're going to do is we're going to take someone like Ligt and we are going to rank him in P1 and P2. We're going to leave P3 out for the centre-backs because I don't think the final third work is the most important thing for centre-backs, so we'll leave that for now. And then we'll talk of out of possession 1, out of possession 2, and out of possession 3. And each player, in each attribute, we're going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 to figure out where we're strong in this squad and where we still need some work. Greg, good morning to you, sir. Hope you are well. Should we just get into this? Start off by talking about Ligt in P1. What does Ligt in P1 actually mean? It means Ligt in the first phase. So you can see up here, we're talking about close control, we're talking about short passing, and also composure, the ability to play under pressure. Now, in Ruben Amorim's system, this is perhaps slightly different to how we would talk about it at another club. If we move some of these guys out of the way up here for a second, Weirdly for United, that can actually involve sometimes receiving the ball in midfield, so we do need to consider that as well when we're talking about the first phase. But more typically, you know, if we were talking about other clubs, we would be talking about the ability to just play under pressure, to receive this ball from the goalkeeper and have the close control, the ability to keep the ball tight to yourself, to work with it, to be able to play out from the back. Perhaps sometimes you're going to need to be able to take the ball past someone as well, you know, actually carry the ball. So perhaps you draw the pressure in and then you look to go past them. That is something that we should consider as well. But yeah, let me know what you think for De Ligt on a scale of 1 to 10 in the deep phase. Now, for me personally, I don't think he's a master. You know, he's not a master on the ball. He doesn't manipulate the ball unbelievably well. He's reasonably two-footed. I would say somewhat two-footed. Kind of composed, but not overly progressive. I think he's one of those players who is not amazingly good in this phase, but also, you know, he's not a huge issue either. So in terms of rating, it's going to give you a sort of mid-range, I would imagine. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. Bobby the Bob, good morning, mate. How are you? How are you? Can you do this analysis for the academy too? I'll tell you what, I would love to. Maybe if there's another international break later in the season, we might get time to do that. Shouldn't we not include Lindelof and Evans? Yeah, we probably will leave them out like we did with Casemiro and Eriksen yesterday. We probably will leave them out. Anyway, ratings-wise, what are we saying? I'm seeing some 6s, I'm seeing some 5s and 6s. De Ligt is fine in the first phase, but nothing special, but it's enough for the player. I completely agree. If we were talking about a 10 rating, by the way, we're saying pretty much on par with the very best in the Premier League. If we're saying 1, we're talking about probably one of the worst in the Premier League in this phase, which hopefully we don't have any United players in that category, but maybe we do, we'll see. For De Ligt, I think we are talking about 5 to 7. I think we are in that 5 to 7 bracket. This is the final international break before the end of the season. I'll see if we can get time at some point. I'll see if there's a week where I've got a bit more room to do another stream like that. So we'll see. Include Shaw, maybe? I'm not sure about including Shaw. We'll see how much time we get towards the end of this. Anyway, you guys are going between a 5 and a 6. We can now have decimals as well, by the way, thanks to Steve. So if I'm seeing a 5s and 6s, should we go 5.5? Does that feel... I think he might be a 6, actually. I think he's a 6. I think he's a 6. We're going to go for 6. Anyway, next, P2. Now, this is more about actually progressive actions as a centre-back. So you can see up here, that's ball carrying, that is progressive passing, but also ball retention. So we're sort of talking about when United are perhaps dominating the ball a little bit more. Perhaps we're around the halfway line. We're getting into our shape where, you know, sometimes we go into this weird diamond shape. How progressive is De Ligt from here? Now, this can be in the middle or out wide or in a back four. We're not necessarily talking about this system. We're talking about De Ligt. So how do we rate him here? I think he's a decent ball carrier. I think he's fairly decent in that aspect without being amazing. Progressive passing. I felt like it's improving as the season has gone on, and perhaps that's kind of settling into the system, settling into the environment. He's getting better. Again, I don't see him as a world-class ball player, but I think he's very solid. You know, he's not going to be touching those 10 numbers. He's not a 9. He's not an 8. Around 6 and 7 again. I think we're talking here, and I think a 6 or 7. I think would be fair. What do you guys reckon? I think Shaw will be hard to get out of the club. Yet today, obviously yesterday, we saw how long it takes to do some of these, so we probably aren't going to get time to go into the likes of Shaw and Mazraoui as well, but hopefully another time. He can switch the ball pretty well from right to left, the long balls. That's where I think he's got a lot better recently. We've been seeing that passing range more regularly. I think we've also got to remember with De Ligt as well that he's never in his career played in a steady team. So that is something that we need to consider. He is going to improve, hopefully. I think I would say in terms of ball progression in this area, he carries the ball well. You know, he's a good carrier. Passing, I need to see more of it through the lines, but I think it's good in terms of the long ranges. You know, the big switches. I want to see that more regular. I'm thinking maybe like a 6.5 or a 7 is what I'm thinking. But what are you guys feeling here? De Ligt is improving his diagonals, but he needs to do more. I'm seeing a lot of 6s, a couple of 7s. Is this going to be a 6.5 job? I think De Ligt can improve his offensive play depending on who his attackers are. He plays it safe. compare the standard of our attackers versus what they were at Bayern, for example, is a very good point. Again, he is at a new club. He's not been here very long at all. New environment, all those things, and a very unstable environment as well, which we do have to consider. 6.5. Is this a 6.5 job? Is he better here than he is in the first phase? I think he is a little bit, because I think in the first phase you need a bit more composure and manipulation, which he perhaps doesn't possess. So I would say he's slightly better here, I think. I could go as high as 7 here. I could be tempted to go as high as 7, because I'm seeing so many 6s, we'll settle at 6.5. Anyway, now it's time for the defensive stuff. Now here we've got it a little bit differently. A little bit different. Yesterday it was more about kind of the phase of play depending on where it is on the pitch, whether it's in the deep area, whether it's in the middle third, or whether it's high up the pitch. Today with centre-backs is going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on aerial ability, box defence, and shot prevention. So we're talking sort of about deep central defence here. Then we're going to talk about wide defence, defending the channels, you know, recovery pace, 1 versus 1 defending, agility, things like that. And then we're going to cover high pressing, engaging high up the pitch and helping the team actually engage in the press. So that's how we're going to do this. What do we reckon for De Ligt? I think actually he's a very, very strong box defender. Unfortunately for him, what he does possess, though, is lapses of concentration. Lapses of concentration is what he has. This is, I think, something that has sort of plagued him his whole career. He just has moments where he switches off. There was one recently. I think Onana got a lot of blame for the goal. I can't remember what match it was, but the ball comes in from the right. Maguire doesn't do very well either. Just moments where they sort of switch off. I'm thinking like an 8 here, an 8.5. He's excellent at that. I'm seeing 8s, 9.5, 8, 9, 8, 8.5. Seems like your P1 squad total isn't working naturally. I think it is down here, right? Is that not right? This is where he thrives. It's a 7.5 or an 8 for me. I think for me it's an 8 or an 8.5. Who... You know, if we're talking about 10 being best in the Premier League, you'd have Van Dijk over him. Is Maguire perhaps a slightly better box defender, maybe in certain aspects? What I will say about De Ligt is what he really possesses, and I say this to Callum quite a lot, is, there you go, he's just said it. Like, he almost has, like, clutch defending. Like, he has this moment, he just switches on a lot quicker than a lot of other people. If he could get rid of the lapses of concentration, I really think he's very, very good here. We could be talking 9, 9.5. I think the slight inconsistency brings it down just a little bit to an 8.5. For me. Which I hope you guys are going to be okay with. Like I said, he does have that clutch gene though, doesn't he? He reads the danger. He reads the danger ahead of other people, which I love about him. Anyway, he's done very well there. Anyway, out of possession 2. Now today, this is going to be wide defence. So we are talking about sort of those moments where you're a little bit exposed in the channel. And this can apply to De Ligt because sometimes he does play as the wide centre-back in the back 3, right? So these situations here, 1v1, how is he? Sometimes this will be against a winger. Sometimes this will actually be, you know, big open spaces that you've got to try and cover. I think De Ligt is reasonably good. I think he's a lot quicker than what people give him credit for. I think he's a bit more agile than what people give him credit for as well. But he can dive in a little bit, seeing him get beaten. I'm only willing to go to an 8, to be honest. Yeah, I do see it. There are inconsistencies. He throws himself in front of the ball. There should be a measure for that. Bold nature. Yeah, he does have that bodies on the line. That's what I mean about that clutch defending. He does sort of disrupt things, which other players don't. There's been a lot of moments recently where you kind of see the chance on the highlight straight after, right? And De Ligt's the only one reacting. The rest of the players are just kind of looking at the ball. And De Ligt's got there and made a tackle or an interception or something like that. So, yeah. You think 8.5 is a bit high? Let's not get too carried away by good form. I think 8 is alright. I'm trying to think again in terms of like the grand scheme of the Premier League. Who would be better in the box? Someone, like I said, maybe Maguire, Van Dijk, Ruben Diaz is a good box defender. There are a few about in the league. Maybe we can go to an 8. Let's not be too generous. We need to be honest about the squad assessment here. What do we reckon for this then? The wide defending. He's a bit like a handsome Phil Jones at times. Are you suggesting Phil Jones is not handsome? Because I will not have that slander. He doesn't overly commit during 1v1s. He's good at it. Can be susceptible to being beaten on pace, though. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's strong here again, but I wouldn't say he's weak. And this is something that I was really keen to point out when we first signed him, and we're starting to see it with the ratings a little bit. There almost isn't anywhere. There isn't a part of his game where he's absolutely incredible. He's just pretty good at most things, is how I describe him, which is why I thought when he came in, he's a bit more of a squad player rather than someone who changes the starting 11. But perhaps that is changing. Perhaps that is changing. You know, Yoro's a better wide defender. In terms of in the Premier League, I think there's several centre-backs that are better out wide. You know, Kanate, your Salibas, your Gabriels, your Van Dijks. Trying to think of some other clubs as well. Who else plays in the Premier League? Chelsea, what are their wide defending centre-backs like? Colwell's okay. You know, even players like Branthwaite at Everton, in terms of wide defending, is probably a little bit stronger. What other clubs have you got? I've completely froze on teams that play in the Premier League. City, what are their wide defending centre-backs like? Aki's good, Akanji can be strong. Are we talking like a 6, a 6.5 here? Edwick, good morning, my man. How are you? What are we, 6, 6.5? I think a 6.5 might be about right. Yeah, I could go 6. I'm going to type 6 and see what the reaction is in the chat. I'm going to do that. And see what you guys have to say about that. Hang on, I just got a message I quickly need to check. It's nothing important. Nothing important. Anyway, let's see how you guys react to the 6. And I will move on to the high pressing work. High pressing, dual winning timing. So what I'm talking about here is... Yeah, Murillo's another really good shout. There's some really good ones in the league. Really good ones. What I'm talking about with the high pressing work is... Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Over here. Let's get rid of a couple of United players. Just go stand over there, please, gentlemen. United are trying to press high up the pitch. Now, recently, when we play against a solo pivot, we know the system. It goes a little bit like this. And what we sometimes need is our centre-backs to follow midfielders or inside forwards into these positions here. Recently, I think De Ligt has improved quite a lot here. 2 months ago, I would have given him quite a harsh rating because I felt that he was getting the timings completely wrong, to be honest. I think he was really struggling. Recently, he's improved. The system still isn't great, which doesn't help him. I'm trying to think back to his Bayern days as well, when I've seen him with the Dutch national team. Again, I would say he's decent here without being amazing. I think, like I said, he's improving. He is strong in the tackle, which helps. He's strong enough in the air in these moments. The timing is still an issue. The agility sometimes can be an issue. You know, a player sort of spinning him in these half spaces. He's really improved in the high pressing, following the player into midfield and making a good challenge. Yeah, if you asked me a couple of months ago, if I was to, base him on this season so far, he'd have been fairly low. He would have been fairly low in this. Again, by the way, this is something that I was really keen to stress yesterday, and I need to do it again today. If I give a player a 4 or a 6 or something like that, that's not me slating them or calling them terrible, because no player is going to be like a 9 across the board here. All right, because it's not going to happen. If we could find a centre-back, which was 9s across the board, we'd have Van Dijk, so we're not going to find that. We need a balance. We need our centre-back trio between them to have a couple of good channel defenders, a couple of good box defenders. They don't all have to be amazing at everything, as long as between them they cover it, which, again, is the objective of this, really, to figure out the squad strengths rather than just one player. I think here... I'm happy to go for like a 7. I think in moments he lacks the aggression to go all the way. So I'm thinking 6.5, 7. We need a category for attacking play, like set pieces. It's not a bad shout. Maybe we'll come back to that at the end. A United player actually developing and improving at the club. What is this witchcraft? Tell me about it. Oh, we got a super chat, guys. You know what to do. Love hearts in the chat to make sure that I don't miss these super chats, because sometimes I'm an idiot. So thank you, David. Oh, it's moving. I can't read it. Here we go. Velroy in the chat saying, is Semenyo the right profile for right wing back? Well, first of all, thank you very much for the super chat. Guys, love hearts for this gentleman. What an absolute legend. Thank you very much. Is Semenyo the right profile for right wing back? I think what I personally like about the idea of Semenyo is he's not necessarily a perfect right wing back. He's not necessarily a perfect left wing back. He's not necessarily a perfect right forward or a left forward. What I love is that he's a very good option for all four of those positions. So I think if we were to sign someone like Semenyo, and he is high on my list, very high on my list. I was happy with the rumours we saw yesterday. He doesn't have to be the perfect fit for one position because I think he's an amazing player that can cover us in several areas, which I think is crucial, absolutely crucial when we're trying to build this system and we're trying to build a squad that can compete. So I certainly like Semenyo as an option. He is up there as a player that I would suggest that United go sign. And there's not many players right now that I would say that for. There's not many players that I would, actively go and recommend. But Semenyo is right up there. I would recommend him for several clubs, to be honest. I like him a lot. I like him a lot. But yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. Very kind of you. And guys, good stuff with the green. Good stuff. Are we settling on a 7 here? Are we settling on a 7? Yeah, guys, we'll do set pieces and stuff later if we've got time. We have got several players to get through, so we'll come back to it if we've got time at the end, all right? But we'll see. Are we done there? 7? I think we're okay with that. Now, what we're going to do next is move over to Lisandro Martinez. Rather than talking about Maguire straight away because he's similar to Ligt, so it's a bit repetitive, I want to talk about Lisandro Martinez because he is, of course, a very different type of player. Very, very different type of player. He is probably going to rank well in slightly different parts of the game, starting off with P1 or IP1 in possession 1 and also 2. What do we reckon? Close control, short passing, composure, ball carrying, progressive passing, ball retention. These are all things that Lisandro Martinez can do very, very well. We're missing him right now whilst he is out with injury. Is he ever going to be the same player after injury? I don't know. But it feels like we have to include him in this stream because if not, we are completely writing him off. And I'm not ready to do that just yet. So what do we reckon for our man, Lisandro Martinez? For me, one of the very best. One of the very best. His close control is amazing. His short passing, his composure. Is there, genuine question, Lisandro Martinez in the first phase, is there a better player in the Premier League? Is there a better centre-back? Obviously, he's helped by his small size here. It gives him extra agility, turning past people, going past people. Is there a better... He's a minimum, for me, a minimum of a 9. Again, if we're talking about Premier League comparison, I can't think of many better. Is the next rebuild stream going to be wingbacks? It might be. It might be. Lisandro Martinez on the ball. These ratings have got to be high. These rankings have got to be high. I think, let me quickly go to the tactics board. This is the once video tactics board, by the way, or the coach board. Make sure you check it out. I think he's maybe the best. Lisandro Martinez's close control here is just phenomenal, isn't it? The way he twists, the way he turns. I'm not going to go for 10, just because I don't think I can guarantee he is absolutely the best, because I might be missing someone, but he's certainly like a 9, a 9.5. He, like you said, he is amazing here. He is undoubtedly amazing. Incredible on the ball. It's also the same for ball progression as well, up here. Could he do a bit of work on his carrying, perhaps at times, but I like his take-ons when he does it. I think he's good. I'd just like to see it a little bit more. His progressive passing, we know, is an absolute joke. Passings through the lines. The only thing I would like to see more of with his progressive passing is big switches out to the far side. This season, we've started to see more of the clip in the channel, which I was really enjoying. We know he can do along the floor through the lines. Quality there. I'd like to see a bit more of the switch. Perhaps that's always been a tactical thing. Maybe his managers haven't encouraged it, and that's why we haven't seen it. But I would like to see him utilise that a little bit more. So I'm not going to give him the top ratings for this, just for that reason. But still, a very, very good player in this department. And I'm thinking, is it a 9 again? A 7 max. His short passing to me is tempo, but he is risky and taking a gamble. I think he's right up there. His line breaking passes, yeah, quality. 8.5, 9, I'm thinking. It's a 9.5. He needs to do more long balls, but I think he has the ability. I would agree with that. I want to see it more regularly in his game. 10, mate, honestly, you could sway me with a 10. I just think there are better long passes, which is probably going to stop him on that front. But, 8.5, 9. Let's go 9. Let's go 9. Let's go for a 9. We're doing it. We're doing it. Defensively. This is where we might have more question marks than we had last season. And last season we had more question marks than what we had in the first season. Aerial ability, box defense, and shot prevention. Aerial ability, box defense, shot prevention. So this is mainly defending your box, right? Sitting deep. Defending those areas. Not the best in the air. Not the best in the air. Shot prevention-wise, he does have a bit of agility in the box to quickly kind of twist and turn and get himself in the way. We know he likes to throw his body in front of shots, which I think is good. I like that about his game. What do we reckon here? I think it's average. Yeah, his shot prevention is good, but I think the other things are low, right? I got ripped to shreds for saying this last year. I'm glad to see people agree with me. I thought I was losing my mind. So like a 6? I think a 6 is about right. 6.5. I'm seeing a 4, which... You know what? A 6 might be high, because a 6... If we're calling a 5 average, right? If we're saying a 5 is average, is he above average for box defence? You know, when you consider that pretty much every other centre-back in the league is 6 foot. I could go as low as a 5. I could go lower. I think a 6 is too generous. Yeah, Lightning, you might be right, mate. It feels harsh to say because obviously we love him as a player and we want. But I think if we're being really honest, a cross is coming into the box. Do you back Lisandro Martinez to deal with it? Do you back him in those moments? Personally, I don't. You know, where's the board? Where's the board? Let's get it. Let's talk about it. Lisandro Martinez in the middle here. Or actually, let's say the cross is coming from this side. Am I in the way? No. Cool. Let's say the cross is coming in from this side. Cross back here. Lisandro Martinez. Forward coming in on the back. Pause. Can you win that header? I think he's weak here. I think he's weak. I think he's weak. I think he's weak. I think he struggles here. I think he struggles. Like I said, the shot prevention, things like that, good. Box defense, crosses. I think he's poor. I think he's poor. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. When you use the Prem as a reference point, I think 6 is average, if that makes sense. Yeah, okay, I get what you... Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it does. I know what you're saying. Yeah. He can push him away. I think he did that a bit more in the first season. I'm losing my voice there. I don't think he's done it as much recently. What do we reckon here? Might not win the ball, but the man doesn't get an easy header. Edward going for a 4. I do see the argument. Should we go for a 5? But if we have on possession is 9 is high, overrated question mark, I disagree. But defense is 6 is itself high, consistent marking, AJ. I believe we have marked this consistently so far. I believe. I think Lisandro Martinez is elite on the ball. I've made claims about him being the best ball player in the world, and I'm going to stand by those claims because I think he's right up there. Right up there. Should we go 5? 5. Because I do get it. It's almost like 6 is actually average in the Prem. I do get what you're saying. Yeah. Even though it doesn't make sense, it does. It just does, right? Okay. This one's interesting. 1 versus 1 defending, recovery pace. So basically, we're talking about him being pulled out into the channel. The wing has picked up the ball, and he's driving at Lisandro Martinez. How good is he here? I think it depends on the player quite a lot. You know, we've seen someone like Mo Salah make him look... but we've also seen him... You know, there was that game right at the start of the season where Adama Traore kind of toasted him, but then recovered really well, and on the next one, learned his lesson and was strong here. Large spaces is an issue. Obviously, he doesn't have the greatest stride length. He doesn't have the physical ability to knock players off the ball all the time as well. So again, we can't go too high here, unfortunately. Are we talking a 6? Is it better than his box defense? I would say so, because it's less about aerial ability and things like that. 5.5, 6? I think 6. I think 6. He's not quick, but he's agile? Yeah, I agree. I agree. 4.5, bro. Do you think it's worse than his box defense, his channel defense? I'm not sure if. Oh, not sure if I agree or not. Risk taker. Yeah, he can get caught out a little bit, can't he? He goes in too hard. I think we'll go for a 6. I think that's the number I'm seeing most frequently. A couple of 5.5s as well. 6, yeah, we're seeing 6s in the chat, so that's what we'll go with. I want to let you guys try and control this as much as possible, although sometimes I've got to step in. Out of possession 3, Lisandro Martinez, high pressing, duel winning, timing. I would say this was his big strength defensively when he first signed for the club. First season under Erik ten Hag, he was strong here. I think he's regressed a little bit, and that's not because of him. It's not because of tactics or coaches or managers. I think injuries have harmed him here a little bit. They have harmed him. He doesn't always seem quite as aggressive when connecting with the press. However, this is probably the strongest part of his defending, I would still say, because it's less about aerial ability, it's less about physical ability. It's a bit more about, you know, sort of squeezing into these areas when this guy receives the ball, being tight, being aggressive. 6.57? Ligt is much better when he's confident, so a 6 feels right. Again, I think injuries have harmed him in so many areas. I think it has weakened him as a player. I think he doesn't trust his footwork a little bit. He's had some problem with those ankles, and I think you can see it in the way that he approaches certain challenges. I also think there was a spell last season where he looked like he'd put on a bit of mass, which perhaps was affecting his agility. I think a 7, 7.5, 7, 7.5. Would I go as high as 8? First season, I would have gone as high as 8. I think he's regressed a little bit. There's some really impressive aggressive centre-backs in this league as well. 7.5? 7.5? The only thing he sometimes lacks is when he's trying to do this. He's got the timing and stuff. Sometimes he lacks the actual, like, just pure size to actually knock the bloke over. If it's a false 9, yeah, like you've said there, I think he's actually quite nice. He's quite good against them. If it's a striker dropping deep, the physicality becomes a bit more of an issue. I think like a 7.5 might be about right. I'm seeing 8s in the chat. I'm seeing a couple of 7s as well. 6.5. Still his strength? Yeah, I agree. I just don't think by as much as what it was previously. I think he's become a little bit weaker here, but still his strength. 7.5, is that right? 7.5. Now, what's interesting about that? Is he better than Ligt at that? I think he is. There's an argument that Ligt should be higher than Ligt here, by the way. Which is where we might need to start utilising the 0.5s a little bit more. I think what you can see here, though, is... This is what I talk about, Ligt being more of like a jack of all trades, can do a little bit of everything without being amazing anywhere. You know, he doesn't go below a 6 here, whereas Lisandro Martinez is more of a specialist, so he does go below a 6, but he also goes as high as a 9 in other areas. Remember him destroying Kane in his first season? Oh, I haven't thought of that game in a long time. What a throwback. Is he better than Ligt in the high press? His timing is better. His dueling probably not quite as strong. You know what? Let's leave it there. Let's move on. Let's go to Harry Maguire. A man who divides opinion. Always has. Probably always will. Once got called a fridge and used to get memed everywhere. Then has gone through spells of great appreciation in his career. And I think at the moment he's sort of in a middle ground, right? Where some people really like him. Some people think he holds us back as well. Yeah, 70. Quite decent. He's not better. They're both a 7. This should be an 8 here. Too strict on Ligt. This could maybe be a 6.5 on the Ligt, honestly. Glenn, good morning. My phone has been poorly. I know the trouble, mate. I badly need a new phone. This is awful. Yeah, let's move on to Maguire. There's always going to be disagreements over the ratings. We can't please everyone. I'm trying to basically take the averages that I'm seeing in chat. You know, we can't please everyone. We can't please everyone. And again, Edwick has mentioned it there. Maguire as the central centre-back with 2 channel defenders either side is a good back 3. And I agree. I think it is different to when we were doing this last season because of the context of back 3. It does change the... I think we can use more specialists. I think in a back 4, you almost want 2 very solid centre-backs that are going to bring, you know, maybe an aggressive one and a more passive one, but both 2 very solid players. I think in a back 3, you can look for specialists a little bit more, which is why perhaps you can get Maguire in your team a bit easier, or you can mask Lisandro Martinez's weaknesses a little bit better, for example. Perhaps doing both is tough, but yeah. Harry Maguire. Close control, not great. Composure, okay. Shorting passing, I've just realised. How's it taking me that long to realise? What do we reckon here? I think his short passing's okay without being great. His close control is not. Is he slightly worse than Ligt, I think? Slightly worse than Ligt in the first phase. It depends where he's playing, you know. When he's going in as that middle centre-back into the midfield, he's not great, but I feel sorry for him because that's not a centre-back's job, in my opinion. I think maybe we're talking a 6 here, and Ligt should be a 6.5, is maybe what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking that maybe. What do you reckon to that? I think that's okay. P2, ball carrying, progressive passing, ball retention. This is where I think Maguire comes through quite strong. Tactically, we haven't seen it as much under Ruben Amorim because of the system doesn't allow the middle centre-back to carry so much. But I think he's a good ball carrier. I think he's a good progressive passer, although his tempo can be quite poor. His ball retention is reasonably strong, but sometimes a bit looser than I'd like. Close control 5, short pass 6, composure 5, so it's a 5.5 to a 6. Yeah, maybe a 5.5. We're saying Maguire is average at P1 in the Prem. Are you saying that's high or low? Ligt's better in the first phase? Yeah, and I think here, though, second phase is where Maguire then takes over for me. I think we're looking at more 7.5. Remember that cup game some years ago when he became a marauding 8? If you ever watched him play for England in 2018 at the World Cup, he played on the left side of a back 3, Maguire, and he was given the label of false 5 because he would pick the ball up on the left side of the fence and just dribble. He went on some mazy runs. If you watch his dribbling compilation from World Cup 2018, you'd think we've got the best ball-playing centre-back. Very weird. Maguire's actually a right at ball carrying. He doesn't do it a lot, though. Yeah, I think when we're talking about ball carrying, I think he was able to do it more previously in his career when tactically it suited him a little bit more. I think what we've seen is, because of certain defensive limitations, managers have put him into a certain role which doesn't allow the carrying so much. Yeah, that makes sense. I think a 7.5 is okay here. Ball carrying 7, progressive passing 7, ball retention 7. Yeah. Six is too high for P1. It includes close control and composure, and his short passing ain't that good to average it out. Yeah, I see that argument. Yeah, could he go to a 5.5? Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, we might come back to it, see how much time we got, because we're running out of time already in this stream. This takes ages to do. All right, out of possession, box defense, Harry Maguire. Aerial ability, very good. Shot prevention, strong. Box defense, good. But, like De Ligt, he does have moments where you think, what are you doing, mate? And he probably has it slightly more than De Ligt. He does have those switch off moments where he just ain't all there. He ain't all there. So I'm not sure what I think here. What centre-back is better than Maguire at ball carrying, though? Honestly, when he does it, there's not too many centre-backs that are that much better. But it's about other things as well. Progressive passing, I think it's actually about the ball retention point on P2. About tempo. Knowing when to kind of speed it up, I think that's where he's a little bit poor. And I think also, because of something he does defensively, which perhaps we'll talk about another day, that holds him back a little bit as well. I'm thinking an 8, an 8.5, a 9 here. Maybe the mistakes just bring him down to an 8.5. A little bit better in the air than De Ligt. A little bit better. Maybe not quite as good as the shot prevention. Prevention. I think he's quite a bit better in the air than De Ligt, actually. Quite a bit. 8.5. Using the Chad rule, it must be a 10. True. Maguire is one of those players that when it goes right, you can look good, but when it goes wrong, it's inevitable. Yeah. 8.5. I think the errors. There's just been a few too many errors. A lot less mistake prone recently. Yeah, I agree. I think he's slightly better than De Ligt. I think the superior aerial ability is a bigger difference maker than the concentration factor, rating-wise, in terms of difference, I think. This next one. Out of possession 2. Wide defence. 1v1 defending. Recovery pace. Ground coverage. Getting himself in the channels. Large space to cover. What do we reckon? I might go Maguire down to 8. I might bring him level with De Ligt. What do we reckon here? 0? Chad, it might actually be applicable this time. Unfortunately, yeah, GG. Fair. Yeah. Guys, I'm seeing 4.5s. I'm seeing 5s. I think you're being generous. He's not good here. He's not good here, is he? He's not good. He's not good here. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, if you could please leave a like on the stream, it helps a lot. So please press like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on. Please. Actually, please do it. Sometimes Maguire uses his body well, and he can sort of get himself across an opponent and knock him off the ball like that. Recovery pace doesn't exist, unfortunately. Agility. Are we talking like a 3 or a 4? 3? It is bad. It is bad. 3.5? What do we reckon? You know, just 1v1 Maguire, you just don't back him. Should we go 3.5? Should we give him the 0.5, or does he not deserve it? He's not terrible 1v1, but once he gets burned, there's no chance. Yeah, perhaps I'm being a little bit harsh on the actual 1v1 of stuff. Maybe it's 3.5. Do I do it? Agility, 3. Oh Christ, not 5. 3. Okay. Out of possession 3. High pressing. Dual winning. Timing. Dual winning, strong in the high press, I would say. Sometimes gets turned a bit too easily, which is a problem. But when he actually just gets his body in with a striker, really good, really effective. He often steps forward and kind of powers in front of them. Love it. That would suggest that the timing is good, but there is an inconsistency of the action where, you know, sometimes he's going to be aggressive and step in and help us, and then in another moment he's worried about his recovery pace, so he gives himself several yards and drops quite a bit deeper. We can't go high with this, but I also don't think it's low either. Are we looking at average? Are we looking at that sort of 6 region? I'll type it in for a second. Are we talking in that region? What do we reckon here? He can pin a player and stop them turning. Yeah, it's the ones where he's just a little bit late and the player's sort of like already halfway through the turn. That's where he gets done a little bit. Yeah, he can be late with the arrivals. But when he's not, he is really strong. 6 because of the inconsistency? De Ligt is better at it. De Ligt, there's a reason I think Amorim tactically asked De Ligt to do it more. I think a 6 is fair. Anyway, now we've got some of our younger centre-backs. First up, Leny Yoro. Close control. Short passing, composure. Or shorting passing, if you type like me. Yoro's pretty good. Good close control. Can use both feet, which I like. Obviously played on the left side of defence sometimes, which kind of showcases that. Box defence needs improvement, I would say. Wait, P3 is 0 at the moment? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, it's meant to be. I'm not doing P3. What was I saying? Yeah, close control, good. 2-footed. Composed. Leny Yoro, yep. Short passing, decent. I think he's solid here. I think he's better than Maguire, certainly. Yeah, I think he's a little bit more comfortable than De Ligt because he can use both feet a bit better. I think he's easily a 7. When he's not Lisandro Martinez, he's not a 9. 7 feels about right to me. 7? Could it go 7.5? Or should we relax here? Everyone's saying 7. Lovely stuff. P2. Ball carrying. Progressive passing. Ball retention. Ball retention I think is good. I think it's strong. Ball carrying I think is good. I think it's strong. Progressive passing ain't bad. It ain't bad. We saw that sort of tactical development a few weeks ago now where Yoro would sort of move to the left side a little bit more as Bruno dropped into the back line. Like, let's do this. You know, Bruno would drop in here and Yoro would go to almost like that left back role and then he could carry from here. And I think he was doing that quite effectively. I'm seeing 7s, I'm seeing 8s, 7.5. There's an argument, isn't there? 7.5? Because the sample size is still fairly small. He is obviously a young player. I think we'll go... Oh, there's a few 8s in there. There's a few 8s in the chat. I think we'll go 7.5 for now, not to get ahead of ourselves. Or 767, you know, because he's playing well. Now defensive stuff. Aerial ability. Box defense. Shot prevention. He struggled a little bit here recently. I think he doesn't make enough contact in the box. Sometimes give that striker a nudge so you know where he is and he knows where you are, right? And you can not let him have that free run at the ball. I feel like sometimes he makes it a bit too easy for strikers, particularly at the back post. Maybe that's a lack of experience. In fact, it probably is. He's not going to get a high rating on this one from me personally. I'm seeing 5.5s, I'm seeing 6s. I'm feeling a 6. I think he will get a lot better here. I think he will become, hopefully, an 8, etc. someday. But I think right now he's not there. Yeah, but his ground stuff in the box is good. You are right. I think a 6 is probably about right. I think he's a 6, and I'm happy to go for that. Out with possession 2. 1 versus 1 wide defending. He had that one game where he got cooked, but apart from that, he's been good. Recovery pace is obviously good. We've all seen it. He's got those long legs, which make him good in a tackle. Pretty agile as well, which we like. He can turn fairly quick. I think Yoro is strong here. I think he's one of our better ones. We've often seen Amorim commenting on that. Well, yeah, I think Yoro is a better box defender than Lisandro Martinez. Yeah, I would say so. What was I going to say? Sorry. Amorim commented a few times about how in certain games he's wanted more pace in the defence and he's gone for Yoro. That obviously points to the recovery pace. I think he's good there. I think he's good there. 7? Is this man just a 7 across the board? Is he just a 7 across apart from being weak in the box? Here he could go down a little bit. He does struggle at times with the timing of the press. He does struggle with the timing of the press. Again, we've got to remember, very, very young, so he's going to improve in all of these areas, hopefully. I could go higher for Maguire there, by the way, but we'll see. High pressing. I think he just lacks the timing. We've seen Ligt have difficulties with it, and I think Ligt has started to adapt and grow a little bit. I don't know that Yoro has made the same progress, obviously partly because they're not playing as much. I think 6 is about right, 6.5. 6.5, I think. He's better than Maguire, but he's not yet got the timing to be on Ligt's level. I think that's fine. 5.5. 6? 6.5? Do we go down to 6? What do you reckon? You know what? 6s are dominating the chat, so I'm going to let you guys cook and go for the 6. Alright, last one we're going to do for today is Aiden Heaven. Of course, recently injured, which is typical because he started playing well. The sample size here is incredibly small. So we cannot go too high with any rating, but we also can't go too low, it feels, as well, because we don't fully know the player. So it's going to make this one a little bit tricky. Should we just do this one as more of like a sweeping one? So rather than breaking each one down, give me your P1, your P2, your out of possession 1, 2, 3. Yeah. You're way too generous with the ratings. You're giving a third choice centre-back that's 13th in the league above average ratings. Well, a third choice centre-back in a back 3 is a starting centre-back, right? Right? Like, I think also position of a player, you know, the position of the team in the league isn't necessarily a reflection of the player, of course. The system comes into that, environment comes into that. Your teammates, a bit of fortune, tactics, even injuries and stuff like that over the course of the season. Maguire can't be better than Ligt, taking the fact that he's a lot more mistakes in him, and Ligt has those clutch defensive moments. Yeah, we did put them the same in the end. We put them the same in the end. I'm just looking over some of the other ratings while you guys keep typing your responses. I'm just looking at some of the other ratings, seeing if we're wrong on any of them. That's a concern looking at our squad, by the way. That's a real concern. But we knew that. We knew that. That's also not great. That's not great. Is there any rating that I really disagree with here? Let's look on the ball. Lisandro Martinez, progressive, by far the better than the rest. That's right. Maguire, second best. Yeah. Then Yoro, then Ligt. Yeah, I think I agree with that. First phase, Ligt the best, yes. Then Yoro, then Ligt, then Maguire. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Box defense. Yoro's an interesting one. They're not starting for their national team, though. That points to something, too. Yeah, 100% agree. Obviously, also, form dictates that as well, though. So, there's a lot to talk about, of course. We've arguably been a little bit generous here. I would make an argument. Just let me know what you think of this, guys. Could we here go 6 for Ligt? Could we go 5.5 for Ligt and 6.5 for Yoro? What do you think if I went 6.5, 5.5, 6? What would you make of that? Do you want to punch me in the throat all of a sudden? Or what? I don't understand what is going on, really. Yellow card for me. Yeah, fair play. we're trying to rate the centre-backs. I've got the right thing on screen, yeah. We're trying to rate the centre-backs at United in these areas. So P1 here is close control, short passing, and composure, like you can see at the top right. P2 here is ball carrying, progressive passing, ball retention, and so on with the rest of the attributes. The aim basically is to figure out collectively where we're rating well, so you can see we seem to think our centre-backs are fairly progressive, although slightly carried by Lisandro Martinez. But we have a real concern here in OOP2, out of possession 2. We've got a concern there because we're only getting 21. And if we look up here, that's 1 versus 1 defending, recovery pace, wide defending. So that's what we're trying to do here, right? Yeah, what do we reckon on Aiden Heaven? Sorry, we can't go too high on these, like I said. I think we can probably nice him in the first phase. I'm not going to go as high as any other player, though. I don't... Does Maguire need to come down a little bit here? 7.5. The mistakes? No, he's good. He is good in the low block, though. We have to keep in mind that the rating for where we want to be has to be a minimum 8 overall, so the ratings are spot on. Yeah, maybe 8's a little high. I think we want to sort of get into a position where we're possessing a lot of 7.5s, I would say. That's what I would say. Do we need to bring Yoro down here? Do we need to bring Yoro's progressive ability down? Just a little bit. To like a 6.5. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Anyway, Heaven. Should we leave Heaven for today? Should we actually leave Heaven for today because he's played such little football that it's too early to talk about actually... I don't think we can properly judge him. But are we a team that's meant to play in a low block always? No, of course not. Of course not. But what we're talking about in out of possession 1 is box defence, which is low block defending. You know, that is tight space defending. That is what OOP1 is by definition. That's what we're talking about here. So for this one attribute, yes, we are talking about defending deep when the ball's wide, coming into the box. That is what this is. This stuff is, of course, more about the aggressive defending higher up the pitch. So, yeah. Anyway, what do you guys take from that? I think the big message here, the big message is that is terrifying. Here, OOP2, which is 1v1 defending, recovery pace, basically wide defending in the channels. Considering we defend in a back 3, which literally puts 2 centre-backs as wider defenders, to have such a low rating here is a concern. Is a real concern. And I think that points to the fact that we need someone who is a good wide defender, that has good pace, good strength, good power, good agility. We need that. What else would you guys say that we need? So I can write this down and I can try and find a player. So basically, what I want you to do is in the chat sort of construct the ideal centre-back that we need. Of course, 10, 10, 10, 10. I get it. But that's not going to happen. You know, based on this squad so far, what do we need in P1? Do we need someone who is a 10? Like an absolute specialist in P1? Or do we need more of like someone who's average there, like a 6 or a 7? In OOP2, I would suggest we need more of a specialist. But how about OOP3? Kind of build a player for me. And that's not terrifying, it's just that Mazraoui and Shaw can help there. Yeah, I mean, of course, Shaw is a big issue in terms of fitness. Mazraoui, yeah, he does offer us some solutions. I think also we've got to consider, though, when we're talking about squad building for the long term, we've always got to consider in the next 3 years we could be a back 4 again at some point. And then you wouldn't play a fullback at centre-back. So we do need to consider that. But yeah, what do we need, guys? So we need someone who is good in... hang on, let me write this out. We need someone who is good in the wide areas, basically. We definitely need that. Let me write this down. So I would say, in this area here, we need someone who is a solid 8, because that squad is lacking. That squad is lacking. So we need someone there who is a solid 8 out of 10. Here, I think we can get away with it a little bit more. We're looking for like a 7, I reckon. And probably similar here, right? Like a 7, I would say. Because we've got Maguire and the Ligt who are the strong ones. We've got Yoro developing. A 7 here, maybe? Going to write down 7. On the ball, we're going to need another one who's good in the first phase, particularly if Lisandro Martinez's injury is going to be a problem. So we need someone, let's call him a 7.5. And in terms of ball progression, I think around a 7 is okay because we've got options. And I think the system can make up for it a little bit as well. I'm going to sneeze. It's coming. I'm going to sneeze, guys. I don't want to, but it's going to happen. And there's nothing I can do about it. What do we reckon for P2? This is a very solid all-round centre-back we're asking for here. 7. That means 7.5. 7, 7, 8, 7. We're asking for a pretty good player. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need 2 centre-backs. Maybe we need 2 centre-backs. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Need a 7 in most places and a 9 in a out of possession 2. Yeah, I think that's about right. I think that's about right. Anyway, I think our job for today is done. We have assessed the United centre-backs, or certainly the 4 most common ones. The likes of Aiden Heaven, etc., we can talk about in the future when we've seen more of them. The likes of Lindelof, I don't think will be here, so I don't think they're worth talking about. What I'm going to do with the information that we've collected today is try and come up with 4 or 5 options that I think tick the boxes, that fit the criteria that we've spoken about today. And once I've found those 5 centre-backs, I'm going to come back to you with a stream or a video, I'm not sure at the moment, and basically I will tell you who I think we could potentially look at. Steve has raised a good point there about does it need to be a left footer? I don't think it has to anymore. I think the system changes with Amorim compared to with Ten Hag. I don't think it's a necessity, particularly with Yoro's ability on the left as well and his weaker foot. I think it's okay. This is why I say the ratings is generous. It shows we're good in P2, but we still have issues playing out from the back. Yeah, the issues playing out from the back are P1, which is where we said we're struggling, right? Compared to P2. With Ligt really boosting it. So, yeah. What you've said actually backs the ratings we've got. Poor playing out from the back, which is P1. I believe, before we leave, I saw some gifted memberships. I did from Henrik. Welcome to the stream, my friend. You're pretty common around here, so thank you very much. And yeah, he has gifted 5 memberships. So 5 of you guys that were not members before this stream are now members of the channel, thanks to Henrik and his just incredible generosity. So thank you very much for that. Guys, you know what to do. Get some love hearts in the chat. Say thank you, especially if you were one of the people that got gifted a membership, because it's very kind. So make sure to say thank you in the chat. Apart from that, I think we've covered everything that we need to cover for today. We may be back with this sort of stream maybe next week. Maybe we'll now have a break to do some different streams. We'll see. But we will do this again in the future for wing-backs. Inside forwards? Maybe. I'm not sure. Strikers, I don't think it's necessary because we're not talking so much about pairings and combinations because it tends to be only one of them playing. So we probably won't do strikers, but we probably will cover wing-back and the inside forwards at some point before the end of the season. But I can't tell you right now when that is going to be. So yeah, I think for today's stream, we are pretty much finished. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who has left a like on the stream, anyone who has subscribed, anyone who has checked out the second channel, or the Discord link that was linked in the chat by David right at the start. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the gifted memberships that we've seen in this stream as well. Legendary behaviour. Did we also have a super chat as well, I believe? Thank you very much for that. And also, shout out to you guys who sit there quietly and just kind of mind your own business and listen along. So, yeah, thank you to everyone. I think you should do a Q&A stream where we ask questions and you answer, so we interact. Well. I'd like to do a charity stream at some point where we could stream up to like 12 hours or something to try and raise money for charity, and perhaps that could be the perfect place for a Q&A. So that may well be coming. It won't be just yet. It's a while away because there's a certain time I want to do it. But yeah, that may well be happening. So you may get your wish, my friend. If you've got any other ideas for future streams, whether that be a charity stream, a regular stream, second channel stream, which I'm going to be able to do soon, get in a Discord server and let me know your ideas. But yeah, apart from that, we're finished there. We are finished there. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this stream. And as always, I will catch you in the next one, which will be sometime next week. Sometime next week. I don't know when. Because United will be back next weekend, won't we? So probably towards the end of next week, we'll be back with a couple of streams. Video-wise, I have no ideas of what to do. I have no content ideas. So please help me in the Discord, because it's the international break, so I don't know what to talk about. Second channel, easy. Main channel, difficult. I don't know what to cover. So if you've got any ideas, do let me know. But yeah, apart from that, we are finished. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend. There's no United to ruin the weekend. Enjoy the international football, or enjoy a break from football.